What's up, everyone? Just hanging out here. Cup of coffee, playing around with the software. Just basic hangout. If anyone wants to ask any questions or I don't know what's going on out there. You guys doing okay? I'm just here. That's what I'm doing. Just gonna be here for about an hour. And so if you've got any questions or you just want to chat or whatever's going on, you just throw it in the comments there. We can do some interaction there. Nice bit of cruisy music in the background here. I don't know how that sounds. I'd love to know. How you guys doing? Just hanging out for about an hour. So, how's the music? Does the music sound alright? Just playing around with the software. Oh, goofy around. Oh. Nice chill day here in Auckland, New Zealand. Rain. Oh, hey, Nostalgia, how are you? That's good. That's actually very helpful that you put that comment up because I want to play with the comments a while. Oh, there we go. That's nice. I like that one. Let's try this one. That one's a bit flash, isn't it? I think that one's probably the most useful one. Awesome. Great to have you in here. Thank you so much for joining in. How's everyone doing? I'm just hanging out. I'm going to be here for about an hour. Got a coffee and just tidying up my desk and things. And I haven't been on for a bit, so. But yeah, let me know how the. I had some music playing here. Just let me know how the music sounds. I'm just playing around with features and things like that. If you guys have got any questions, whether it's about meditation, Hermetics, or it's Reiki or Qigong or anything like that, I'll do my best. Or just whatever. Yeah, I'm here. You guys doing all right? It's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I actually don't remember. When was the last time I had one of these? Probably been a couple of weeks. In all truth, I have to say I've been been enjoying having a break from doing the interviews, just doing like one a week, maybe, it's been really good. What do we do? Yeah, let me know if the music's coming through okay, because I'd like to, put some music on in the background. It kind of fills in a bit of a space, doesn't it, I've still got that old banner up, haven't I? Hermetics Marvel. I've changed. When was the last time I did a with you guys? Just scroll through. Oh yeah, could have had a couple. Yeah. Ooh. Hey Seth, thanks for joining us. Great to have you here. What's happening in your part of the world, everyone? And come on, there must be something going on, right? There's something going on everywhere at the moment. Oh my gosh, there's stuff happening here in New Zealand. Oh my gosh, there's stuff just going on all the time everywhere, isn't there? It's very, I guess it's interesting and can be quite distracting, and sometimes the question is it necessary to sort of invest our attention into it as well, because it's like, yeah. And I think too, some things are like, kind of interesting. They lure you in, and then there's like the deeper you bite into the sandwich, there's some flavors in there or some textures in there, or there's something in there that you didn't initially sort of perceive that makes you go, oh, or what? Oh. So yeah. Before you take the bite, mental transference. No, have an explore. Where's everyone from? I'm here in Auckland, New Zealand. It's a bit of a sort of a rainy, kind of grey kind of day. I was talking to got a beautiful mate over in Aussie. I've actually interviewed him on here. My mate Greg Doyle. He's a Reiki teacher and teaches astral projection. And we were talking about all sorts of things, and it's so good, it's really nice to have people who are, especially people who are out in the public, who are essentially, I guess you could say in a sense they're breaking the pillar of silence, but they're doing it in service. They're on a service path, and we're just having a chat about things that we share amongst ourselves and things that we don't share, and recognizing the importance and the value of like doing something like I'm doing here, which is creating just basically like a pocket of reality. But people who like to hang out or just talk or just want to hear someone speaking or whatever it's, talking about the topical material or whatever. Because, man, I tell you, I don't know what's happening in your parts of the world. And, as practices, we probably have, would like to think we've probably got a bit of an edge with our practices as far as being able to keep a nice level internal playing field, or a level, that's the right word, a balance or a harmony within it. But the reality is that, there's some pretty imposing things going on. So it's hard not to be affected by it. So, I'm great. Thank you for everyone for coming in. It's really nice to see everyone here. Oh, nostalgia's from Algeria. Wasn't that interesting? What's happening in Algeria? What's the weather like? What are some of the gems and treasures of your local area that you can share? Because one thing about this planet is that there's so much diversity, isn't there? Even if we just stick to the natural environment, let alone culture and architecture and these types of things. So, for example, here in New Zealand, one of my favorite things that's quite unique about it is the animal life. Oh my gosh, and the trees, the native plants and trees and things. And, I've seen images from other parts of the world and that have forestry and bush and very similar to New Zealand. It's quite interesting. But then, a lot of species are quite similar. There'll be little nuances that separate them. But something about New Zealand that is quite special, I think, is a particular species of bird. And I put it up on one of the other live streams, the tui. It's a black bird with a little white tuft or ploy under its neck, and just characters. And I really like that about this particular species, is that they're very territorial and they're very, what would you say, belligerent even, I think in a positive way in some ways. I think about national icons. Man, it's a bit wobbly, this thing, isn't it? I think about national icons, animals that represent countries, or countries that use animals as some kind of general representation. And can't think of anything. That's okay. I appreciate the comments all the same. And but anyway, countries that have animals as their sort of icon, and a lot of them do. America's got the eagle, Russia's got the bear. In New Zealand, we have a flightless bird Ultraclaves Hermetics. I love it. I'm good, thank you. What's up with you, y'all? What's happening? What's happening out in the world there? Out of the world you guys from? Come on, share it out. Don't be shy. If you're using a nom de plume or a pen name or a pseudogram, is it what would where are you from? We don't have to talk about anything specifically. We're just people hanging out. It's about 10:15 in the morning here on a bit of a rainy kind of grey day, and I'm just having coffee. Oh, really? Thank you. All right, try that out. Yeah, I appreciate the feedback, guys. Let me know about music voice mix. I don't want to have to speak up if I don't have to. I've got a gadget here I can jack the mic volume up on, so I just want to speak naturally to you guys. I don't want to have to elevate my voice if I don't need to. I used to play in a band and be a public speaker and things like that, so I'm fully aware of the importance of the economy of internal energy when it comes to projecting. So wonderful, thank you. Let me know if I'm too loud too. I've got the mic's like right here. Okay, will it come into frame? No, maybe if I put it this way. There we go. Just outside of the frame there. That's kind of cool. Yeah, lower music. Okay, let's drop it down. I'll try it at about 50%. Yeah, I like having some music. Hey, I've got a couple of people I like checking out online, and they put some nice kind of music in the background. I don't listen to a lot of music generally, but lately I have to say, really been enjoying listening to this lo-fi kind of jazzy coffee shop kind of laid, chill back stuff, and it's just nice. It's really nice for morning starts after I do my practice and just getting into things, I guess. This mic here is actually it's a large pickup area, and it's not so much of a directional mic. It's a sort of a large pickup, yeah, because it's made for working in ambient areas. So I could have it over the other side of the room. You've still got to project a little bit, but yeah, it's a pretty good mic, this one, actually. I bought it when I was a muso. I think it's actually more for orchestra work. But it seems to pick up the lows quite nicely in my voice. So I've got I used to have a lot of mics because, I'd have directional mics for, guitar amps and drum kits. And, I'd have mics for vocal. I've got a beautiful AKG mic for vocal work. And then I've got a good one like this fella here. He's just good all round. Nice. Thing is, though, is it picks up everything. So you got to have the noise cancellation on. Just had a weekend seminar with a big online marketer I followed for a long time. He's gone quite spiritual. There's a 90-minute AM routine of meditation, prayer, hemi-sync, one mala, and all. Wow. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's just great, that people are exploring these things, and they have there's lots of different ways of doing it out there. You can do concentrated pockets of time, which probably suits definitely people who've got, segments in the day, and then there's maybe the full-time practicer, almost like a devotional practice, doing it all throughout the day. Day gets included into this underlying bed of practice. But regardless, the fact that there's people who are exploring the value of meditation and seeking to discover what this spiritual development process can be from different angles. I was listening to Mark Rasmus talk about this recently because, I really enjoy listening to him. Just very easy to listen to, very knowledgeable, extremely high articulate and eloquent in his delivery and presentation style, and just really really good. And he was talking about oh geez, I totally lost my train of thought. Time for another sip of coffee. But yeah, what do we got? Can we learn mental wandering before step 8? What do you think the lowest requirement for that is? I'm intrigued to try it. Well, the reality is that this is it step 8 or is it step 7? I can't remember now. One of them's astral projection. You actually detach the astral body. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of... The reason why maybe it's so late in the pieces is that when you project into the astral environment, if you call it that, if you want to project into the astral realm, if you're an emotionally charged person who's emotionally unstable, it's probably not going to be a very pleasant experience. It's going to leave you probably a bit traumatized. A lot of there's an instantaneousness. Things happen very fast. Manifestation happens very fast because it doesn't have to be out through physical means. It's going to get, in some cases. And so I think one of the reasons why Barden put it later in the book is that, one, it could be a bit of a distraction because it's a very immersive experience. Certainly can be, especially once it gets really developed. But I mean, even when you first start having it, I was having it way before I started practicing Barden. Way before. When I first started meditating, I started jarring loose. But, I think when I look at the more I sort of study initiation of Hermetics and seek to understand why it's laid out the way that it is, because I'm an educator, there's a progress map or a unfoldment process. This and that leads to this, and that leads to this. And there's a sequential kind of, pathway. Of course, you do this before you do that. You put your socks on, and then you put your shoes on. Which is funny because when you say put your shoes and socks on, someone who takes things literally, then I've got a friend who's got a couple of kids. One of them is autistic, whatever that word means, right? Not really much labels, trust, and stuff. But anyway, she says put your shoes and socks on. You need to put a sock on the shoes kind of thing. And so, oh really? Am I going a bit quiet again? Have I? Just let me know. Let me know, guys. I'll pause it a bit closer. I'll jack the mic up. And yeah, creating a one-size-fits-all development program is, I used to do this when I was training in corporate. You wanted one approach that was going to effectively serve as many people as possible. And is that over here? Is it over here? Hang on. And so you would have a reason for why you put things in a certain order. And when I look at the Barden material and I think about my own previous experience, gifted experiences I've had with dreaming or being pulled out of my body, pulled by whom? I think myself this one time. I'd already been doing meditation for a while, and so I don't think I would have been given a traumatic experience. Although I am aware of some people that, gifted experiences about body experiences, and maybe they weren't ready for it. But it gives you a glimpse into another layer of reality, which you can then, I call it the old, getting a glimpse or a try before you buy, by being a time investment into developing that skill set. Because if it intrigues you and captivates you and gives you, a new reason to explore and invigorate, it's a type of spiritual nourishment, if you will, or just general invigoration, especially if you've maybe fallen short. There's nothing like adventure. or exploring new territory, to develop a sense of wonder and a reinvigorated sense of living. I think that, there's a lot of people who in the world, who are, sorry, I will get back to, your question in a second, but, there's a lot of people who live very mundane lives, and they've got married, they've had the kids, they've bought the white picket fence, the car, and they've ticked all the boxes, they've got the holiday to the islands or whatever, and they've got this and the that, and they're still not satisfied. And maybe they're creative as well. Still not. There's something that's knocking at the door or tapping them on the shoulder, or there's this itch that you can't scratch. And people will go into nature and just sit there. I think when they turn their minds off, I have to say that the mental vacuity exercise that I discovered very early on when I started meditating, that started to open up a few things for me. But as far as can we learn mental wandering before step 8? Yes. I mean, if the question was, should we learn mental wandering before step 8, according to Barden's framework, well, I mean, he states quite implicitly, no. And in the book anyway. So you got to remember, if you're a teacher, your greatest sort of references and testimonials are going to be your the output, which is generally your students. I mean, for me, if I was a really bad guitar teacher and all my guitar students were really bad, I mean, that's not good advertising, is it? And obviously there's perils and things, bad habits that you can set up in the foundation stages too. And so if you haven't already been having these experiences, you really want to build some good foundations. And one of those things is managing your thoughts, because your thoughts are what can cause problems. You don't want your thoughts running amok when you're involved in the layers where the astral things manifest like that. You want an ice cream? There it is. But your mind's all over the place. You could have very unpleasant experiences, and it's visceral. It's very, it's very real. It seems that way. So yeah, you kind of got to gauge it yourself. But if you want to put it out there and say, hey, I'd really like to explore this, read about other people's experiences. That's a good way of doing it. Like read old Robert Monroe, or on the he wrote that book, Far Journeys, things like that. Techniques. But when you get an idea of what you might be getting yourself into, that can help to inform, some ways dictate your desire. Like if you get really excited about something and then you read about someone else's experience and it puts it across in a negative light, and you may go, oh, actually, I don't know if I want to do that now. Or I did, but now I don't. The gift of experience from others. Things that might seem like a good idea might not end up actually being a good idea. But yeah, I mean, of course you can. But you got to remember, out of body experiences are going to be, it's one thing about having these kind of vague, because the process is to gently introduce new resolutions through the sense gates, right? So you're not, if you just have it cracked open, it might screw you up. It might be too abrupt. It may unhinge you or something like this. So I had a really interesting experience. I'm happy to share it. Before. I was lying on my bed, just getting ready to go to sleep, and I was doing a bit of just centering myself before I go to sleep, before I move into the journey into the sleep realm, I guess. And I'm lying on my back and I'm looking up and just closing my eyes, breathing in and breathing out, breathing and just calming my mind, and just put some nice, pleasant thoughts in there before I knock off into the nether realms. And I'm like, I get this weird like feeling, and I look up. I just open my eyes, and there's this weird kind of glowing blob directly above my line of sight on this. It's like weird. And I thought, it's a reflection from the moon or something like this. I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like going, and it's kind of like this amorphous blue, grey, white blob. It's probably about like that sort of thing, like circlish kind of thing that's floating on the ceiling. And I go, I wonder what that is. Weird, isn't it? But mate, it's reflecting because I've got curtains don't meet at the top, and so and then I'm like going, well, hang on, it's on the ceiling. The moon shines on the wall, and if it does, the moon shines on the other wall. This doesn't make sense. I'm looking at this thing, I'm staring at it for about a good 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm not asleep. Like I check myself, I'm not asleep. Okay, then all of a sudden it just disappears. Oh yeah, strange experience. All right, whatever. How you going, Angelo? Thank you so much for joining us. Just in the middle of sharing an experience, I'm lying on my bed and I'm looking up and I'm seeing a big blob on the ceiling. It's kind of it looked kind of like an orb, I guess, but it was moving. It was like, and so anyway, I disappeared. Right? And then I'm okay. It's time for sleep. Well, oh my gosh, I had the most wild night of dreams, lucid dreams, waking up and feeling things, like getting up off the bed, like you feel the bed lift up, like someone, like you see the depression like this. It's like, what? And then, I mean, the lucid dream stuff, I didn't even know if it was lucid dreaming, actually. I think, let me know if it sounds no good, guys. If it's cutting in and out, or anything like that. And anyway, so the lucid dreams were intense, and they were in my room, and it was like my room, but another version of it. It was really, really bright. But the trippy part was that the last experience I had was like waking up, and I was lying on my right side, and there's my bed's pretty close to my double-doored wardrobe I've got there, and it's about that far, I guess, about arm's length. Okay, I'll turn this music off. Just let me know if that improves the audio. There we go. I've turned the music off. Pardon me. And so basically, I wake up. I'm lying on my side. I've got my arms stretched out because I sleep like that. And something reaches out of my wardrobe and grabs my arm and rips me out of the bed, out of my body. And it was real, man. And I'm like going, oh, holy crap. So I actually closed my eyes, because sometimes I've had experiences where I've left my eyes open and it's an overwhelm of data, and it kind of, it can snap you out of the experience. So I thought, I'll close my eyes, and all I'm hearing is this wind, and I'm rushing. I'm feeling this wind, and I'm like getting pulled through this thing. It was really quite something else. And then I woke up and I was lying on the floor halfway through the wardrobe and halfway underneath the bed. And I pushed myself up and I rose up through the bed, and I'm like going, holy crap. Now, the reason I'm sharing this experience is because I was gifted a try before you buy experience, as I call it. And so from there, I started researching and learning about out-of-body experience. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so that's kind of how I started with that. That was a Kickstarter, and my mate Greg from Brisbane, he had a similar experience, and I've heard other people talk about this thing where this light comes in the room, and then it just sort of kickstarts a process. And that was close to about 8 or 9 years ago that sort of happened for me. And that's, been dry. And that was one of the, I guess, provided or gifted experiences that drove a lot of my seeking, and what sort of helped to cement this path for me. And as in like the exploration of spiritual realms and these types of things. And it's funny because sometimes you have your fill, your cup's full, and then you kind of have enough for a bit. And yeah, it's interesting to because there's so much to explore, isn't there? It's so wonderful, it's so big and wonderful, but it's such a big place to explore this whole thing. And then there's all the scientific aspects of being able to reproduce it for yourself and that. And then there's more like the mystic path where things kind of get you just kind of follow some kind of path, I guess. Things kind of just unfold and you're following signs and things. And I think about these two sort of, I guess you could loosely categorize them into two paths, the mystic path and the magician path. The magician path seems to me more to be like something that you're scientists and you're exploring, but you're also being very meticulous and rigorous about how you explore and that, perhaps. And then there's the mystic path, which this is under my understanding anyway, which is more like carefree kind of just exploring and having fun and things like that. But you kind of got to play around with all these things. Geez, hopefully I think there's someone out there with a chainsaw. We've got this thing going on around us at the moment where they're chopping all the trees down and doubling down on yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Well done. Yeah, nice one. Thank you, Ultraclave Medium. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I think it's important to explore both, because somewhere between the push and the pull, you go out this far and you get pulled over this far and you go, oh, about here, and that's a good place to operate. I find that finding out, like, you got to kind of explore, and then you just pull back and go, oh, about there, that's too far. I did that with certain spiritual communities. Some of it's just too far out there for me, and not grounded enough. I'm not denying their experience or I'm attempting to invalidate them, but they speak in a language that's just, I don't know. I'm a very practical person, so yeah. I had an experience recently where, meditating in my sleep, I am noticing when my locus of awareness shifts from outside to inside. Interesting. Yeah, I think as our mental body can move in and out, like the sense, what it picks up on is going to change, So I remember this one time, and it was early in the morning because that's when most of my sort of spontaneous out of body stuff was happening back in the day. This music, hearing the music on the astral, it's so interesting because it's like it's as crisp as I've heard through like studio monitors and high quality headphones and things. It was a pretty solid groove too, actually. I was like going, all right, that's pretty chill. I like that. Actually, when I think about it, it reminds me of these lo-fi beats I'm listening to at the moment. These, I prefer not listening to music with like people singing nowadays. I prefer listening to instrumental music, or if it is something with a vocal, I generally prefer listening to a nice, soft female voice. I used to be a rock musician, and I've really enjoyed having the female voice in the band, like a spunky chick out the front who got the stage presence and can really deliver on the vocal. And then we'd have a guy in there too. Sometimes it was me or someone else who was playing the male part for certain things. But yeah, but that astral music that I've heard, it's just, it's funny, it's never grated me when I've been out of body and I've heard music. Yeah. Actually, I think one of the best ways to sort of put it is like if you've seen any of those early Transformer movies, you hear, Bumblebee, the yellow beetle, or I think he was a Mustang or a Chevy at one point or something. He speaks, like, he doesn't speak in language, he speaks in radio songs. So you'll hear a quote from a song or something like that. And I think that's a communication pathway or a method or a language set for these other realms to sort of talk to us, is using familiar types of things that are familiar to us. That's why generally in dreams, my experience is that, it's not very often I have dreams about things that I haven't had some experience of before. Don't get me wrong, I've had some pretty amazing dreams, like not so much places, but definitely people. I have you can have dreams about people, and then they say you can't dream about people you've never met or never seen. I'm not sure about that, but open to exploring it. But yeah, I'm sort of wandering off here. This is it. I actually think that you kind of got it. You end up taking a bit more responsibility for your sensory input data, because it's like a spiritual or a mental or an astral or a physical hygiene type thing. You've got these layers of reality, and there's noise or static or dirtiness or filth or whatever you want to call it at each level that you can dirty yourself up with. And so, you and yeah, hey, what's up, Tim? Thank you so much. Hey, man, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us from Michigan. Yeah, so perfect. So Tim's talking about the music choice change. Like, yeah, that hit me hard because, like I said, I was a rock muso and playing blues and pop and stuff like that for years, and I just really like really good upbeat kind of rock and music, like Black Crowes, Lenny Kravitz, Guns N' Roses, Santana, good sexy kind of, with a bit of, with a bit of attitude in the vocal, and I love Axl Rose's voice. I actually really miss that, to be honest. He's lost it, really has. Nowadays, I'd struggle to listen to it because it's, like I said, it's pretty intense. It's actually a lot of those old songs I used to listen to, I just find grating now. But I just don't have a good time in environments where that kind of music's present. But yeah, nice, relaxed, peaceful, not necessarily relaxing, because music can be used as an aid for meditation too. I found actually in my healing sessions, or my shamanistic Reiki or whatever sessions, people were actually starting to comment, can you turn the music off? Because I used to try to put some music on in the background, and it was usually the people who were meditators who didn't want the music. People who were not meditators didn't seem to mind because they were listening to radio all day long or something like this, perhaps. I can only speculate. But I started using the white noise kind of thing where I'd have a fan running or something like that. And that was just helping to fill in that empty space a little bit. Just like how a keyboard or a synthesizer can help to fill in the space in a band. If you're just playing rock, guitar, bass, and drums, and you're looking to fill things out, the keyboard can, with its various instruments and strings and synths and things, can help to just fill in and pad out some of that space. Because sometimes, your awareness will be curious. Little tendrils of curiousness will be out there seeking and searching and can pull you out of the experience. And but the white noise, or there's one, what is it? Pink noise. That's an interesting one. That reminds me of sort of like a waterfall. And I got one from, who did I get it from? Tom Campbell, the guy from Theory of Everything. My Big Toe, that's the one. Yeah, he released a set of audio tracks, binaural beats. And he dropped some pink noise, and I just sat there listening to that. I was like, this sounds like a waterfall. It's just... And it was just like, really, once you equalize with it and you can sit with it, it's actually really pleasant. It was kind of like scratching an itch or ticking a box of something, and it helped. Once you learn to relax with that, like it just covered all the frequencies and just nothing else really got in. Absolutely. Especially if you set the intention that you want to check out some astral grooves. I'm just, you know what, when I have these experiences, especially if they're a gifted or a provided one, not that I'm consciously trying to induce, I get hooked up with some beautiful experiences. I don't know whether it's angels or some spirits or God or whatever, but I end up having these really kind of cool, like, yeah, we're looking out for you, man. Check this out. Have some fun. Chill out. Come on. And then sometimes it's an absolute desert. It's like, man, where's everyone gone? I'm doing all the practices and nothing's showing up. Kind of reminds me of like playing like a role-playing game or an action game or something like that back in the day. Level 1 was easy to get to. Level 2 took a bit longer. By the time you're up to level 10, oh my gosh, how many hours do you have to play before you level up again? And grinding. That's why I kind of encourage people to get into things like lucid dreaming, because that's real low-hanging fruit, man. You don't have to sit down and do like an hour of meditation on that each day. You can set up your reality checks throughout the day, and it's pretty easy to induce, and it's fun, and it's good too, because having a conscious experience in a lucid dream environment versus having a conscious experience in an out-of-body experience, you can come to know the difference between those two. They are quite different in my experience, and it's good to get to know the difference so that you can tell when you become conscious in a situation, am I out of body or am I having a dream? And there's a bunch of ways you can tell. As a kid, we did that with our radio. We would push the pre-select buttons to get a message from different snippets of song and talk. Oh, that's a cool idea. My Reiki teacher used to talk about the heavenly DJ. When you walk into a shop or you just turn a song on in the car and it's just like a certain song or there's a certain line that drops out and it's just like, wow. And I was talking to Peter Duchemin about this. He's the Wizard of Bronze interview that I've done a couple of times. And he was talking about, like if you're going to do magical thinking, you got to go all in, because if you're kind of pulling in and out, you can start to doubt yourself. You got to make sure you're pretty well grounded though. But, is everything is everything spiritual? What's not? What as above, so below, right? I think too, though, you got to be mindful of meaning that you create and attachments to things too. I've had moments, especially in the early stages, where everything was just so overwhelming and mesmerizing. My friends and family thought I was probably slipping off the cracker a bit, to be honest, because I'm like going, wow, man. I saw this and then this and then this and then this, and they all seem connected, and there's all these synchronicities and blah, 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 blah. And they're looking at me like going, we have no idea what you're talking about. They got no frame of reference because they're not into this stuff. They're not meditators and they're not seekers. They may have had experiences, but they're not, I think there's ways you got to find where people are at to communicate these types of topics. Hey, Ryan, thank you for joining us. I just want to say, hey, thanks everyone for popping in. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Oh yeah, I need to put one of these up too, don't I? Check out philrice.substack.com. Man, that is a really small banner. I think I have to get a better one than that. Yeah, if you want to support this channel, if you like what I'm up to here, then go to philrice.substack.com, sign up for a subscription there. It's really just giving me your email address for newsletters and things. I'm going to get more active on Substack. Substack's getting regular improvements, and they're going to be introducing live video soon. I have to say that I will be shifting to, it is highly likely I will be shifting to some exclusive type content for members. Like I've got a $5 a month membership here on YouTube, or a coffee a month, if you will, and on Substack too. But if you want to support the channel, Substack's a better way to do it. YouTube's great, but man, I tell you, YouTube is YouTube. Substack at the moment is definitely a much more creator-friendly platform. So thank you. All right. Ryan says, what comes to mind is if archetypal concept-based egregore communicate, they probably have to pull from a database of how humans communicate to express and more conceptual abstract ideas. Yeah, so they need something to reflect off, is my experience. And they're going to use your existing understandings to communicate with you because they want to make the information they are you are a lens essentially, or you're aware. You've got a body of life experience, which is a set of words and language that you have an understanding of the meanings. They have, they may not be completely accurate. Some of them might be more connotative, or the latest version of what that word means. But that's your understanding as it sits. And so that's the same with dreams. When you have symbols come to you in dreams, generally it's going to use things that are familiar because it's trying to communicate something to you, and it's trying to find a symbolic language that you can get and understand. And so, yeah, that's a really great way of putting it, Ryan. Thank you for that. That's a great way of putting it. Engineered music is a way different feel than amused music. Mused music, yeah. There must be like, is there a relationship? Aha. It's funny, one of these astral musical experiences I had. It was electronic music. It was a beat. It was a laid beat, and it had, pardon me, it had a bass. It had some synth over the top, and it was very. But I mean, you're talking about something slightly different here, I guess. Like sitting with a guitar versus maybe sitting with an electronic thing. I know, but tell me if I'm wrong, Ryan. But thank you. Yeah, that's really good. Is a cigar ever just a cigar? Well, it depends. You know, when I started doing sort of ascetic practices with my food, for example, so I pretty much eat the same thing every day. I've gone a little bit wider, I guess, with some food choices, but um, depends though. But I have a centering meal that I have. I have like rice and chickpeas with some vegetables and things. But anyway, so because lots of variety can be quite distracting. But regardless, I'm sitting there and I've got a teaspoon. So I started eating all my meals with a teaspoon. And, I'd tune into the meal. And the more I tune into it, the more I could taste. It deepened the richness of the experience. And so, back in the day, and yeah, so what'd you get up to last night, bro? Oh, we went to a restaurant. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah, we had a steak. Oh, how was that steak? Oh, it was good, yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't remember. Really? Man, I actually don't remember. I think it was good. Because when you're sitting there talking with people and you're eating at the same time, or you're watching, or you're drinking, or you're hanging out, you're spreading yourself out a lot. So you're not able to sort of like fully engage with the experience of the food. Like try eating with your eyes closed. Your visual input senses can be very distracting to other experiences. Hang on, guys. I'm just going to go and do something. I'm just going to go and change some of this light. Be back in a sec. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, so I started eating, having food and closing my eyes and really tuning in on it. And what I found is that even though I was eating the same thing for years, literally years, I found that the meal never got boring because there was always a beautiful richness to just to explore and to deepen and deepen and deepen. And once you overcome the initial urges of hunger, the allure of the smell. I actually, once again, I've got to quote the brother, Mark Rasmus. He says, you sit there and you look at the food and you let the static and the urgency of your hunger pass. You let that pass. You look at it and let the visual stimulus start to settle. You bring the food up and you smell it, and so anything that's pulling on those lower urgencies, if you will, they settle. You neutralize or equalize, and then you might put some food in your mouth and let it sit on your tongue and let the saliva mix with it. And so anything that excites, flavor, 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 you let that settle down. And then you might start chewing on the food and you listen to the sound of it and you let that settle as well. And the way it feels, it's a bit of a process. You get better at it as you do it. But essentially, those things are all types of noise that essentially dirty up the signal, or add noise to the signal of the of deepening the experience of the food. And so I just found that. So I stopped reading things and I stopped watching things while I was eating. Sometimes I still might, but I end up like going, the food becomes quite forgettable. It's like, the food doesn't taste as good because my attention is on other things. And it's just like, I just spent, maybe half an hour making the food, and now I'm sitting down and it's like, I'm trying to read or watch, and it's like, I mean, I was sitting down with the laptop watching something on TV, on a movie or something like that. I think it was a TV show. I think I was watching Babylon 5 or something. I love watching sci-fi and fantasy stuff. Kind of goes with the territory a little bit for me. And I was also doing some work on the YouTube channel. This is probably about a month ago. And it was fun, I've got a few snacks and I'm watching the thing and doing the thing. And I was doing three things at once. And you know what? It took me twice as long to do the job on the computer. I didn't really enjoy the food as much as I normally would. And I missed so much on the TV show or on the thing that I was watching that it was actually like, it was actually quite unsatisfying. It took longer and I didn't get as much out of it. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you for being with me here. I'm very grateful to you guys, But yeah, we're just hanging out. Just hanging out. Just hanging out. There's a new song. Just hanging out. So yeah, what are you guys up to? Are you guys, any of you guys sort of practitioners, like sort of out in the public working, martial arts or maybe Reiki or some kind of esoteric healing or meditative teacher or yoga or qigong or tai chi or hermetics even? I don't know. Tell me what's going on. What are you picking up on? How's the vibe out there? So can you guys see the where is it? Yeah, this here. Can you guys see this here? This animation here. That's what you get when you use the free version. For just a coffee a month, you can help to make that go away. Just saying. Where are we? Yeah, I'm just kind of. I'm actually just going to. I'm just going to share the screen here. Window. That one. That one there. Oh my gosh, that's quite. Let's try that again. And let's try that again. And let's try that again. Here we go. So this is kind of like, I'm just going to have a look at, just having a look at sort of a bit of an overview of everything I've been up to these last, oh, okay. So the first video, oh, wow, it was about a year ago. Oh, pardon me, that was a follow-up. So the first real video I kind of did was this one here where I started, yeah, okay. So it's about 9 months, but then I really started getting serious. I sort of, I hit up Bob from 60 Skills for a chat on egregores, and then we did a part 2. That was a lot of fun, actually. Bob's a good guy, so knowledgeable, so well traveled. Actually, I might see if I can do this a bit differently. There we go. And oh man, that's a pretty gaudy color mix, isn't it? Hang on, I'm just gonna layers. Like, can I get rid of that? Can I get rid of the background? Layers. Background. There we go. That's a bit easier on the eye, isn't it? And I might just, thanks for hanging out, guys, because I'm literally like figuring this stuff out as I go along. So let's see if we can just change that. philrice.substack.com. All right, there we go. There we go. Nice and easy to read, right? So yeah, so I'm just kind of looking back on what I've been up to on this channel over the last little while. You know, getting into sort of like, you know, Bob and I did the KDQ and the initiation into Hermetics videos. Somebody asked me recently, will I do one for practice of magical evocation? We actually covered a bit of that in these videos. And it's basically spirit magic, right? And I'm not a practitioner of spirit magic. So I've got the PME book, Practice of Magical Evocation, but I just don't personally just see a need at this point for myself to do that. You know, I'm working through the initiation texts, and it's an ongoing thing, to be honest. You know, and the KDQ stuff is just so cool. It's so much fun and enjoyable, and it's probably produced the most tangible results in the shortest space of time. It's certainly been. I'm glad that there's teachers that are a few steps ahead to let you know that there's some best practices to make yourself aware of, because but yeah, you know, as far as a video on PME goes, well, we'll have to see. You know, once I, you know, at some point I will get into invocation or evocation, but right now I just don't see a need to. I mean, I get visits every so often, and I just deal with them as I do them. Oh, okay. And so obviously at some point, because this is only the live, this is only the videos. So at some point, when did we first do some, I started, oh, here we go. Here we go. Now we're talking. Okay. So down here is when I first got into, I started reaching out to people in the community. I was posting a bit. I thought, you know, nobody's doing like a live panel. And I thought, well, you know, there's some wonderful people in the Franz Barden community, and they seem really nice, and they're pretty balanced, actually. Like I've sort of checked out some other communities, and I was like, oh geez, you know, they're all arguing, and you know, and I don't know. There's a lot of this kind of armchair argumentative type stuff going on, and it's probably a bit unfair to say that, actually, but I mean, it's a bit of a judgment, isn't it? But it just seemed like I found a lot of people talking about stuff, but it didn't always reflect my own personal experience with things, and I just didn't find it very useful and very engaging. It just, you know, it's like anything, you know, especially once you become, like if you do Qigong or anything like that and start becoming energy sensitive, you just kind of have a knowing of like, oh, this isn't worth hanging out with. And you're like, no, I'm going to hang out with it for a bit longer because I might be wrong. And 9 times out of 10, you're usually pretty right. But I started doing these live panels, I reached out to people like Bob and Victoria and Philip Harris Smith, and I think I had Aaron on the first one. He's not really a Hermetic practicer, but he's a meditator and hypnotherapist and into Qigong and Systema and that. So there's crossover there. And then I did another one, and I did them 3 weeks in a row, and then the next one ended up being a couple of months later because it was a bit of overkill, really. Like, I had a lot of questions, but not everyone was available, and I think a little bit of the initial enthusiasm gave way to the reality that people have got lives, and I think too, it was a bit of oversaturation too. So we spaced them out a bit. The next one was a couple of months later. This one we did with Bob and Mark was really cool. But if I flick back to the videos, it doesn't go all the way back to the beginning. It's hard to do a chronology of this stuff because it doesn't all list them in the same region. But we started doing there. That was the first. You can tell by the awesome thumbnail. But I started chopping them up and making them into these little, making a bit of a searchable content library, I guess, based on the topic. And so I didn't really think about that. A lot of what inspired the Barred In idea was watching that Scotsman, the critical drinker who does movie and game and TV reviews and that. He's an excellent articulator. I learned a lot from listening to him. And he would basically get panels of people on and talk about things, and then he would chop them up and then have a topic, and he still does that, and that's awesome. Like, guys, seriously, like, that's a great way to create regular content. You record a long form version of a conversation, and then you just chop it up and schedule that out. I haven't been done a lot of that lately, I must say, but there's a bit of music there from back in the day. But Andre, that interview with Andre was awesome. Like, his microphone was terrible, but the content of the conversation was it's an exercise in concentration. I'll just say that. All right, I'm going to have to disappear in probably about 5 to 10 guys, but I might pop in a bit later. But I just wanted to hang out for a bit and just see if anyone's got any questions and stuff. But oh man, I loved that interview with David Paul Coleman. Was just so good, and I think that was my first. Is it my first sort of hangout? I can't remember. No, it wasn't. So these sort of solo live hangouts have been really cool because I didn't initially intend to start this channel as a I guess what you might call, I didn't intend for it to be an interview channel, because I found that I ended up bypassing my own capacities in favor of sort of exalting others, which I have no problem in doing. In fact, I really enjoy it. It's so nice to be able to bring people on and help them to grow their audience, which helps to grow my audience, and discover new people, and helping brothers and sisters out there who are trying to grow their presence, if that's what they're trying to do, or not. Just give a bit of help them to get a bit of exposure in that, because there's some fantastic people out there and teachers who are they're not live. They might write a blog, or maybe you can contact them for their professional services. But it's a great one, isn't it? Looks like I'm pulling the finger. I'm not precious about this stuff. I'll leave it up there. It's as goofy as it might look. That interview with Rick Miller was pretty cool. His microphone needs some work. I'm always giving feedback to people that come on about their mic and camera, because a lot of them want to get into the stuff that I'm doing as well. But they're not sure about the tech side of things. So I want to help them out, because, man, getting on YouTube or any of these sort of places where we can just, live streaming is so much fun. I literally made a coffee, came down. I did a little bit of prep, but I pretty much just pressed the button and here we are. This topic, conversation on moral relativism, was pretty fun, but didn't quite touch on what I wanted to. I might do that one again at some point, because it relates back to the lawfulness of your conduct. And Yeah, that's going to take a bit more fleshing out, that one. But it's good just to have these conversations. Do our decisions matter? Does our conduct matter to our long game? Um, oh yeah, these two guys are great too. Philip and Peter. Peter. Man, he's a real interesting cat. He's found ways to infuse ways of being arty into his magic practice that like bringing things together. And so as you can see, my the thumbnails got better over time. But anyway, that's just a little bit of self-indulgence. Okay. Oh, what are these things doing here? That's interesting. They shouldn't be there. But anyways, it's fun to sort of what are you doing there? It's fun to sort of reflect back on, what I've been up to this year. And pardon me, I was really kind of trying to get more of the community in behind the channel to sort of, get a low cost kind of monthly sort of subscription model going that could pay for the costs of running the channel, like getting the streaming software upgrades and, getting equipment. Like, check this out. Here's my mouse, man. We're lucky we've got heaps of op shops and thrift shops around here. My mouse gave out the other day. I still got the sticker on it. I was able to get a replacement mouse. I don't know if you can see it, for like $3. Reminds me of that video Martin Folks made. Why aren't magicians fabulously wealthy? I have no doubt that there are plenty of millionaire maguses out there, and probably some billionaires. I wonder if you kind of have to be a magus to be a billionaire, even if you're not consciously practicing. But I mean, I'd like to get this channel to sort of, I really like this. This is fun, like it kind of reminds me when I was a music teacher, and just have we'd have sort of some free time in the class for the kids to ask questions, or the students, I should say, because some of them were a bit older as well. I've taught adults. I've taught full range of ages. Range of ages. Age of ranges. Range of ages. But I have to say, this software I'm using, this EV Mux, it's really good, man. You can do heaps of cool stuff in it. And I was talking to one of the bros about this last night about, what's the opportunity to create a more kind of interactive experience with the audience. And, I've got an idea for some... I got lots of ideas, and I don't always get around to doing them all, but I like to float them to see, just, I guess, to gauge interest. Floating a trial balloon, if you will. And I've got an idea for something I want to do. And I think the cool thing is with scheduling is that when you see the thumbnail pop up, like, are you subscribed to this channel? Are you subscribed to this YouTube channel? Are you subscribed to my Substack? Definitely subscribe. At least, like, if you're on YouTube right now, all you have to do is press the subscribe button, right? And then you'll get notified. Because I think one thing that we can do is that we can start doing some like live streaming, kind of like games, if you will, where we can do some test exercises for testing your intuitive capabilities. I won't say too much more than that, because I'll just throw a thumbnail together and then book it, and then you guys can come on if you're available at that time. And now most of my audience is in the US, but I can only see that because it's of who subscribes. So for all I know, all the people who watch who aren't subscribed could be from New Zealand, but I don't think they are. So yeah, like the metrics on YouTube help me to kind of plan things, but I'll just press the go button on a live stream for the most part, unless I've got a guest booked. And yes, I won't tell you who, but I may have. I interviewed Ray Del Sol the other week, and man, that was I don't really know Ray's work that well, but I know he's quite he's held in high regard in the community, and man, what a lovely guy, I mean, I've had Bob on plenty of times. I've had Mark Stavish on. I've had Clint Sabom on. I've had Michael Lamb. I've had Joey Nishad, and I've had I've had heaps. I've had the Chi Skills team. I've had Martin Folks on, Greg, Philip Harris Smith. There's Dr. Miller, Rick Miller. There's so many people. I'm not sure, to be fair, like how often I'm going to be doing interviews, because they are. If you don't know, you don't. It's hard to explain, but yeah. But I may be having an interview before the end of this year, which for me will be a peak experience or a pinnacle. And those of you who can guess, I won't confirm or deny, this will be a very rare treasure and treat, for not just for everyone else, but especially for me. So I won't give any more away, but I've reached out and I've got a positive reply, and we're just trying to tee up a time to do it. And it will be alive. It's just a great way to go, and there will be audience interaction. And I think a lot of this should create a bit of vibe in the community, actually, especially for people who are a fan of this person's particular approach. Now, I have to say, somebody put something up here about somebody put a oh, okay. Oh, it seems to have disappeared. Oh, that's okay. So be it. What's happening, everyone? Oh, I should be disappearing shortly. I think there's going to be someone here soon. I need to go and tend to a situation, but they haven't arrived yet, so we'll just hang out for a bit longer. Yeah. So hopefully before the end of the year, I'll have a final guest on, which interview season will be over. I'll still be coming on though. And it doesn't mean I won't have guests on, but they won't be so formal, I guess, if you know what I mean. Formality, I think, kind of, because don't get me wrong, I used to get up on stage and I'd have butterflies before I'd go up on stage, and I would get to meet some pretty amazing people, and I'd get, but I guess starstruck, maybe not, in the early days, especially. Just when you meet people and you got to learn, it's like the food thing. You just hang out with them and then you just kind of equalize with their vibe, right? So, where are we here? Oh, yep. So that's fun. Hey, you're most welcome. Ultraclaves Hermetium. I love it. That's a cool name. UCH. Yo, what's up? I'm waiting for it to hear a sound. I'll know there's a car door slam that I'll hear. Then I'll be like, okay, all right, I got to go now. But I'll just hang out till the end. I haven't even finished my coffee. I prefer it when it's hot. And I'm not a microwaver, so I'll just chew my way through it. But yeah, I've got to say, this has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll see how I get on a bit later. I got to go do some training at some point, and I got to go do some work stuff as well. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying this, I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the questions too. It gives me a chance to practice sharing my experience, becoming succinct in my delivery, because I can tend to be a little verbose, and I like to add context to help to fatten out understanding. Unfortunately, sometimes I can lose my train of thought. I'm certainly improving that. It just happens, through the nature of sitting down and doing a thing, or you're doing whatever it is you're doing, sitting or standing. So thank you for your patience and your very kind and generous ears. And yeah, please check out the philrice.substack.com site. I'm still building it. I, like I said, I love YouTube, and it's opened a lot of doors for me. But I know how these. Well, I don't know how they work, but I've seen what they do sometimes, and it's not very cool for creatives. Yeah. So I appreciate your support. And if you'd like to support, go down into the description below, and there are options there. I've got a Telegram you can jump on too. That's probably more active than my Facebook nowadays. I've got the Substack's kind of like, I haven't got a lot of, like, there's most of the videos are up there, but I will be creating member exclusive content at some point because, I've kind of got to, I got people who are very generous and just supporting the channel. And thank you. I just want to say thanks to everyone who's not only subscribed or signed up for the email, but they bought a monthly sub, for like, whatever it is, like $5 or $6 or whatever. I think it might even be $4. That's really cool. I'm grateful, guys. That's very helpful. I get a few more of those. I can pay for the live streaming software. I probably need about another 10 people. I think it is. Is it 10? Yeah, it's about 10. 10 new paid $5 a month subscriptions on Substack would just nail that out, and then I can upgrade the production. I can get rid of that thing and have some more cool stuff and interactions. But yeah, I want to start doing some online teaching where it's not so much about technique. It's about you guys trialing out because one thing you want to do is that as you develop these new skills, you want to be able to test them out. Especially psychic skills and perceptual skills and that. And there's ways that I can facilitate that. Unfortunately, the version of the software I've got right now, I can kind of do it, but it's not as awesome. So might sound a bit cheesy, but I want to put it back on the community a bit. If you guys like me and what I do, man, hook me up. I'll hook you guys up. Oh, hello, Jackie Craigie. Oh, that's a very Scottish sounding name. And it doesn't sound too bad. It's lovely to have you here, Jackie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, sis. What's happening in Scotland? What's the weather like? You guys getting some sun over there? Here I am. I'm still here 15 minutes after I said I was going to log off. I haven't heard the person show up yet, so I was like, I'll just hang out till I hear it. Scotland. I've got some friends from Scotland. I've got a friend. My family, I believe, is actually from Wales, and obviously it's not Scotland, but it's an interesting part of the world. I've never been to the UK or that, and so I can't really comment on it. But I've had plenty of friends who have gone, and we're obviously, my ancestors were settlers here in New Zealand from I think they came via France, so they're Welsh from Welsh and Cornwall on my dad's side, and I think but I'm mostly German from my mum's side. And there you have it. There you go. You've had a bit of a breakdown. Oh, and I'm also what is it? There's some Dutch and we're all a bit of this and a bit of that, aren't we? Yeah, cool. All right. Okay, guys, look, I'm going to disappear, but I might do a poll on YouTube and just see, because those of you who are like, who love showing up, hanging out, if it turns out that the majority of that group, the people who subscribe, because when you subscribe to this channel, I get metrics on YouTube that tell me when most of the people who are when the people that like watching what I do are on. So I can go, oh, okay, well, most people are on at this time. So I might come on here then. That's a good time to do it. So that's one way that subscribing helps. But yeah, cool. All right. Everyone have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing day. I might jump on a bit later. I'll see how I get on. Lovely to see you all. Thank you for all your comments, questions, and queries, and blessings to you. Stay well, eh?